Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. I hope you've had a wonderful week so far. I'm sorry I missed our time together last week. Tuesday night, my daughter was very sick, and so I was up most of the night with her, and then she needed my attention on Wednesday. So my kids and my family always come first, and so unfortunately that meant that we skipped our usual style snack last week. But I promised you that we were going to talk about how to save on your splurges, and we are still going to talk about that. The week before, we talked about 5 things to know before you splurge on a wardrobe item. And when you're building a wardrobe you love, investing in the right pieces can make your wardrobe look and feel very luxurious. And it can also give your pieces longevity. Theoretically, investment pieces are high quality, not always the case, but that is usually the point of them. And quality doesn't always come with a big price tag, but it often does. Investment pieces and splurges can be a great thing for your wardrobe, but maybe not for your bank account. So, I have 7 tips to help you save on your wardrobe splurges. And the first tip I have for you is know what to splurge on. Not every item in your wardrobe needs to be an investment. Carefully choosing what you splurge on will make your budget go a lot farther. Certain items will add a luxurious feel to your whole outfit, like a great bag, or give you more comfort, like well made shoes. As someone who was born with problem feet, I really value shoes that fit me correctly. And these investment items, if they are this great quality, can last you longer, which in the long run saves you time from having to replace them and can save you money if you're having to constantly replace less expensive and lower quality items. And I did a whole blog post on that I'm going to link to when I upload this to my blog post about knowing what to splurge on. So we're not going to talk about that in depth today. My next tip is to set your budget. I know I talk about this all the time, but it's just so important. Always, always, always stick to your clothing budget or your overall budget. If you don't have a separate clothing budget, I highly recommend it. I wrote about that and we had a style snack about that as well. So I'll link to that one. But it's never, ever worth accumulating debt for clothes, shoes, bags. And besides that, any savings that you acquired by buying that really great deal will be eaten up and then some with interest fees on your credit card. It's easy to justify it if you feel like you'll never find this item again, but I promise you, you will. Once you know what you're looking for, set a budget for that item. It may mean saving up, but if you don't have a target, you can't hit it, right? And we talk about sticking to your budget a lot in the Stunning Style Society. And I know I talk about it a lot with you, but it's easy to get caught up in the idea of having the perfect item or the perfect wardrobe right now. I'm so impatient that way. Like, I want it done and I want it done yesterday. It needs to be perfect immediately. But part of the problem is we live in this on-demand society currently. I promise you it's worth waiting until you find the right thing and you can afford it. It will be that much sweeter when you find it and it's not going to break your bank account. I love Brooke Castillo, and I'm trying to find the podcast I think she talks about in a lot of different podcasts. I'm going to link to one when I upload this blog post, but she talks about how the anticipation of something exciting like a trip or a purchase or achieving a goal or Christmas coming, a birthday is more. You get more joy and excitement out of the anticipation than the actual event. Anticipating this awesome trip is more joy than the trip itself, which I don't know that I fully agree with that because I really enjoy our trips, but I do agree that anticipation is part of the joy. And so, enjoy the wait. My next tip for you is to try a less expensive version of a new to you style. So instead of trying to buy the ultimate, the perfect, the only trench coat of my entire life when I had never even tried on a trench coat, what I could have done is purchase a less expensive option to try it out. Do I even like trench coats? What color is perfect for me versus what color does everyone else think is perfect? What details do I want? And I shared that story with you last week, so I won't repeat it. But it was a big, expensive mistake. I learned my lesson. And when I decided to reincorporate leopard into my wardrobe, I did the smart thing. I figured out what I thought would be the perfect leopard version of leopard for me. I bought an inexpensive version of a pair of shoes, and I actually got it right on the very first try. And, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But I wore and wore and wore and wore those shoes, and they became an immediate staple in my wardrobe. And while I liked them a lot, they weren't 100% what I wanted. But by that point, I knew what I wanted. So I invested in the perfect leopard shoe flats for me. They were more expensive, but they were exactly what I want. I wear them all the time. All the time. They're my most worn shoe in the fall. I wear them a lot in the winter, especially now that I live here and it's not as cold. And they come out in the spring as well. The only reason I don't wear them in the summer is because I have wedges instead. But it's something that I do now. It's really great to experiment with your style and find new things that you love. If you come across something that appeals to you, but those are not the items to invest in right away. Figure it out first, exactly what you love. So the next tip I have for you is to know your style. Before you buy something at an investment price point, if you buy it before you understand your style, it can be a very costly mistake. Does that mean that every purchase you make must be perfect and no mistakes are ever allowed? Oh no, definitely not. We all make purchasing mistakes, right? But when you're experimenting with your style in particular, experiment on less expensive wardrobe items like we just talked about. One of the primary reasons I feel confident and comfortable making investment purchases now is because I know exactly what I do and don't love. I know exactly what details I'm looking for, what's a deal breaker for me, what are must-haves for me. And I've made this mistake before. And I talked to you 2 weeks ago when I talked about 5 things to know before you splurge on a wardrobe item. I shared that story of my perfectly right for someone else trench coat purchase. And I wish I could say that was the only mistake I've made, but it's not. And here's the thing. I've realized that I have made wardrobe and outfit purchases based on these little fantasies that I have in my head. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I talked about it, but I remember I bought a scarf. It was an expensive scarf, which I had never even owned. I hadn't owned a silk neck scarf ever, but I had to suddenly because we were going to Palm Springs, and I just had visions of me like in a convertible, which we weren't driving there, or we don't own a convertible, or we weren't renting a car either. But like just looking so chic and elegant with this like silk scarf around my neck and this dress, and like it was ridiculous. Like, but that's why I bought that scarf, Did I wear it? Not once. Not even one time. So I have another one. All of my adult life, I've wanted to buy those once in a lifetime finds, especially if they have a story attached to them. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like when someone says, oh, this jacket, oh, well, we were in Florence and I walked into this leather shop and the owner came right up to me and said, I have the perfect jacket for you. And he pulled it right off the wall and it fit me like it was made for me. It's like butter. The quality is amazing. And it's been a favorite of mine for decades. It's timeless. It's perfect for me. It's so well made. That, my friends, is a true story. But it's somebody else's story. It actually happened to a friend of mine. I just told you her story. And it is a gorgeous jacket and it looks incredible on her. And on top of that, it's attached to this amazing story. And it happened in Florence, Italy. I mean, those are the kinds of things that I wanted, but I wanted everything in my wardrobe to be like that. I wanted that story to happen to me. And I wanted to be that woman with impeccable taste who immediately spotted the ultra fine quality of an item so perfect it was made for her and kept it for years. And if it had an amazing story attached to it, all the better. Let it happen in Italy. But the problem was I didn't know my style anymore. And I was trying too hard and trying to make things happen and trying to make it work for me and buying things I thought would fill that. Essentially, it was a fantasy, right? I wasn't looking at what I loved. I didn't know what I loved anymore. I was looking at what would fill this story that I have. And so now you know how silly I am sometimes, but it's true. I actually have a free masterclass called 5 Steps to Find the Right Clothes for You that will get you started on understanding your style, exactly what you love and don't love, and not what the powers that be say your style should be. It's not about the latest trends. It's about you. What do you love? Because if you don't love it, it doesn't matter how great it is, you're still not going to wear it. That silk scarf was fabulous. It was vintage Dior, but it wasn't me. So it doesn't matter, does it? My next tip is my Captain Obvious tip, and that is to watch for the sales. Wait, first, I want to know if I'm the only one who has these weird ideas of playing out fantasies about buying clothes. Like if I wear this thing, then my trip here is going to be so magical. It's the same reason I bought a wrap dress. I watched, it was a James Bond movie, the one where they're in Venice at the end with Vesper. You know which one I'm talking about. Which one is that? I can't remember the name of it. But at the end of the movie, I think they're in Venice, and she's got to go to the bank, and she rolls out of bed and she throws on this wrap dress and sandals, and she's instantly chic. I just woke up this way. And she runs out to do her errand, and I was like, if I have a wrap dress, that'll happen to me too. I'll wake up like I wake up looking like this, which is not the case. I have to put on makeup and stuff. But that was why I bought a wrap dress, because I thought if I bought a wrap dress, my life would happen the way hers does. I would just wake up and toss this dress on and my day would go on like that. I mean, she dies in that dress, but that wasn't part of the whole thing. So is it just me? Do any of you do this? Like buy a clothing item because you're living out some dream or fantasy that you've made up? Maybe it is just me. So back to the sales. The end of the season usually offers the deepest discounts of the year, but you can get some great deals earlier in the season. And I want to show you one that I loved, this top from the Summer Classic Wardrobe Guide. But I needed to get some wardrobe staples first, and that used up my budget. And so I didn't have the budget at the time for this top. Really loved it. There was actually a top very similar to this that I had bought several years ago, but the pictures on the website were extremely deceptive, and it looked like it fit like this, but it was very boxy and wide, and I couldn't take it in because it would have eaten up the pattern down the sides. Also, it was really creamy and it looked white online, but I was always sad about that top. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. It wasn't what it looked like online. It was really, really wide. And that's what it was meant to be. So I wish they would take the pictures that way, but that's totally other tangent. So I really did love this top. But like I said, I had spent my budget. It just didn't work anymore. And then at the end of the season, it was on clearance. And I scooped it up for like $15. And it was, and I had more money in my budget by that point. It had been 2 months. So I was really excited to be able to add this to my wardrobe, but I can't wait to wear it again this spring, but I was willing to let it go, knowing that it wouldn't, it didn't fit my budget. And I actually do have one of those stories about a perfect find, like my friend's Italian leather jacket, but it didn't happen in Florence. It happened at Express. When I was no one picked it out for me, but when I was in college, I walked into an Express store right when it opened for the day, and they had just rolled out a rack of these beautiful long black coats. And the Matrix movie series was at its height of popularity. And this was like the wool version of Trinity's coat. It was gorgeous. Let me show you. It was fabulous. It was cut like it was made for me. It was a $200 coat that had been marked down to $15. I snatched it up off that rack. I tried it on. It was perfect. I turned around to grab one for my best friend's birthday, and the rack was empty. I mean, they went like that. I'm not even kidding you. I walked straight in at 10 o'clock. I saw it. I picked up my size. I put it on. I turned around, looked in the mirror, swooned a little bit. I turned around, and it was gone. They were gone. And I still wear and love this coat. It looks like much nicer quality than even the original $200 price tag. And I knew I loved it the moment I put it on. I knew the cut and the tailoring is fabulous. It back then, I mean, how can I say this nicely? Stores like Express made better quality items 20 years ago. Well, it wasn't quite 20 years ago, but you know what I'm saying. They just don't make the same quality of clothes for the same price point that they are still selling at. You know what I mean? So it's a very, very beautiful coat. I still wear it, and every time I wear it, I get questions. Where did you get that coat? That coat is gorgeous. And my story is nowhere near as fantastic as my friend's story about Italy, right? Mine happened at Express in the mall. But it is one of those items that I spotted. I knew immediately that it was perfect for me, and I scooped it up for a steal. And I have it to this day, and I wear it. So relying on end of season sales is risky. What if your size sells out? It could happen. But if it's not in your budget anyway, you weren't going to buy it at full price, were you? You weren't going to buy it because you're not going to spend outside your budget, right? And the truth is, not everything goes on sale. Some luxury brands never discount their items. So you either pay full price or nada, right? Wrong. You have other options. What if that item sells out and you didn't get your size because you were waiting for it to go on sale? And what if it's an item that you want that is never, ever discounted? What if it's a limited edition item that is no longer being made and you didn't even know it existed when it was being made, or you couldn't afford it when it was? Well, you have other options that will help you save on your splurges, and it works for these situations as well. Not only can you spend less on the items here, but you can find things that are no longer available. And you've been around for me for a little while. You know how much I love Poshmark. Love it. What's one of my very favorite places to shop. And it's a site where you can buy and sell your gently used or new with tags clothes, shoes, bags, and jewelry. I have bought and sold countless items there, including investment pieces. And it can be overwhelming at first. The main question is, how does Poshmark work? So I wrote a series of posts about how to shop on Poshmark, how to sell on Poshmark, one about what I wore from my shopping on Poshmark. And if you do sign up, if you're new to Poshmark and you sign up and you use my code DanceMe23 as your referral code, you'll get a $10 credit towards your first purchase, and I'll get a $10 credit after your first purchase, which, you know, yay, because I purchase on there all the time. And I wanted to show you a few items that I got from Poshmark. This Burberry jacket, I got a steal on it. It looks like it's never been worn. And I love it. I love it. I have a thing for Burberry jackets. I love jackets. I love well-tailored jackets. And I really love this one. I wear it a lot in the fall and in the spring. I got these. I showed you the picture with my leopard flats. Well, I got the matching bag on Poshmark. I didn't know. Well, and I got the shoes. Well, we'll talk about the shoes in a minute. I got the bag on Poshmark. I didn't even know this bag existed when they were selling at retail. And once I discovered its existence, I really wanted it. So thank goodness for Poshmark. And I got a great deal on this bag, a great deal. And I also, I've always wanted, here's another one of those fantasy things that I talked about. For decades, I have wanted a bracelet that stays on all the time, like a signature piece of jewelry. Actually, because it's even more embarrassing when I tell you why. When I lived in Brazil, there was a little girl, like a toddler, who had a silver bracelet that was always on. I don't know how they got it on her. I don't know how they were going to get it off of her. It wouldn't come off. I mean, I never really inspected it. She always had it on, and there was not a clasp that I could see, but I just loved that. But I have baby size wrists. They're not normal. And so I can't even wear regular bracelets because I went shopping with a friend of mine and she's like, what about these bangles? And I was like, oh, I can't wear those. They'll fall straight off. And she's like, oh, come on, they won't. So she put this stack of bangles on my wrist and I dropped my arm and it was like 15 of them went clattering across the floor. And she was like, I don't think that happens on most people. And I was like, No, I don't think it does. So finding one that is small enough for me, that alone is a huge challenge. And I looked for several years. I saw this one, and it was expensive. It was an investment piece. And I watched and I watched and I waited, and it was discontinued. And it came in my size. And so where did I turn to? I found it on Poshmark in my size, which was nothing short of a miracle. And I bought it, and I love it, and I wear it constantly. So it was worth the investment and the splurge for me. And what I really love is that because the counterfeit market in luxury goods is so rampant, Poshmark has an authentication service. So anything that you purchase over $500, the seller has to send to Poshmark first, and they have an authentication team that inspects it and guarantees the authenticity. So I knew that what I was buying was not counterfeit. It's also a great place to shop when you just are trying to figure out your style. And when I was figuring out my style, almost everything I bought came from Poshmark. $10 tops here, $15 tops there. And I made a lot of mistakes, but they were far less damaging to my wallet because I was playing with my style through these less expensive purchases. And now that I understand my style, well, I still shop on Poshmark. There's a sweater that I love. I bought it. It was in the winter 2018 classic wardrobe guide in burgundy. And I just love the style of the sweater so much. I wanted it in black and navy, and they didn't sell it. And I couldn't get it anymore from the retailer. And I was able to find them on Poshmark, and I wear them all the time. So just because, I do know my style now doesn't mean that I spend with abandon. If I can get a better deal on it, I absolutely will. But it was such a great place for me to shop when I was figuring out my style, and I would buy something and try it and be like, okay, no, that is not me at all. Do I wish I had my $15 back? Yeah, but was it the same as my trench coat mistake? No. And I could list and resell my mistakes. Another great place to find your splurge items is on eBay. Experienced sellers have largely moved away from bidding to buy it now pricing, which I happen to prefer, and you can even make offers there. And I love that it has a save searches feature. If I can't find what I'm looking for, I save my search, and whenever something new is listed, I get an email notification. So that's how I found my beloved leopard belt. We're talking a lot about leopard today, but let's look. It's also how I found the leopard flats. These all match. They're a perfect match. They're the same brand, same color, same pattern, and matching leopards is so hard. So it started with a pair of heels, and then I found the flats on eBay, and I have loved them. And even on eBay, they were a splurge, but they were new in box, never worn. And then I really wanted the matching belt, and I couldn't find it anywhere in any size. And so I saved my search, and I just put in, leopard belt. I don't remember what my search was. I don't have it on anymore. And it took several months, but one day this belt popped up in my size, and I snatched it up. Even on eBay, it was still an investment for me. Like it was to me for a belt. But this one, I love wearing it. It was worth a splurge. And then I wanted the bag, and I started out with the smaller one. It's behind me. This one. Let's just roll away, shall we? The beauty of being on wheels. I got the smaller one, and I do love the smaller one, but it turned out to be a little too small for daily wear. So I kept it for like going out. It can be a clutch, or I can carry it on the strap. But for every day, I really wanted a bigger one. And I got this one on Poshmark, the smaller one. And then I got that one also on Poshmark. Like looking at some of my bags, my work bag here, eBay, Poshmark, Poshmark, Poshmark. They're not all down here. But anyway, I have loved shopping in these two places. One more thing I'll show you that I got on eBay. Honestly, I usually shop on Poshmark. I find it easier to navigate because they're not selling car parts, right? And everything else under the sun. But I do look in both places. This coat I got on eBay, and it began an obsession. I love this coat. I have it in 3 colors now. I have had it in more colors. I only have 3 of them now. And I featured it in the Winter Classic Wardrobe Guide in black this year. I've featured it in red before. I have the red one. But it is the perfect coat for me. It's the perfect fit. I got a steal on it on eBay because the lining at the armpit on the inside had ripped. Well, for $15, I had a tailor fix that, and now it looks, and the outside looked brand new. It had obviously gotten a lot of wear because that was worn out, but for $15, the tailor fixed it. I paid $70 for it on eBay. It's a $400 coat, and I've worn it and worn it and worn it and worn it. So these are just some of my tips to help you find those investment pieces, those splurge pieces, and save on them. You don't have to spend a fortune to build your wardrobe. And even if you're not purchasing investment or splurge pieces, these tips still work. So I would love to know which tip was the most helpful for you. Let's take a look at the comments quickly. Kathy says hi from Missouri. Well, hi, Kathy. I'm glad you're with us. Nettie's here from South Africa. Oh, that's on my bucket list. I would love to visit South Africa. Rachel says, yes, I love thinking about outfits and how great it'll be for an occasion. But do you think about them unrealistically the way I do? Like, I make up these scenarios in my head. Maybe I am the only one who does that. Mirka says, that's me too, the one with fantasy stories in my head that I purchase clothes for. I've become a bit better at ignoring these ideas, but it still happens sometimes. Mirka, thank you. Thank you for making me not be the only one, because I hadn't realized that I did it. It took me a while to figure it out. I think it was the scarf that I finally was like, why would I buy this? And then I was like, well, because I started fixating on it because we were going to go to Palm Springs, and it's this retro chic, frozen in time town, and I wanted to be just as retro chic, frozen in time, right out of the 50s too. I wanted to look like a glamorous Hollywood starlet from the 50s. And what did they wear? They wore the scarves, and I bought a denim shirt dress, which the shirt dress I love, and I do wear that. But I was going to wear it with the scarf. I didn't. I was going to wrap it around my hair so that the wind wouldn't mess up my hair in the convertible that we weren't renting. No. Oh my gosh. Moda says totally. Well, tell me then, tell me one that you've done. Something you've bought for these weird fantasies, like if I have this, then my trip here is going to be just, I want to know. Tell me more. Sue says, yes, and I think I'm going to look like the model in the picture. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure you will. I do that too. I'm going to look just like her when I buy that thing. Oh, I'm glad it's not just me. Rachel says, so yes, I buy things for fantasies. I used to only buy dresses if they were danceable. Like if I buy this dress, I will dance even better. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Why would you buy a dress that's not danceable? That's good. Thanks. Kathy says, I can't think of any time I've had such a vision, but since I was in theater, there was a possibility I could use things as costumes. That's a good one. I gave all these types of things to the theater department at the high school where I retired when we moved south to Missouri. Well, it's good that you donated them. I bet they get a lot of use out of them. But it's the same kind of thing. You're like, I might make a costume out of this. See, I was actually making costumes too, but not to wear in the theater, to wear around, right? So at least you knew that yours was meant to be on stage. Wendy says, yes, I am a minimal soft classic, so my clothing fantasies usually are heavy on soft classic. Lace easily comes to mind. I love the look and idea of lace being super dainty and elegant. Then I put it on and I look ridiculous in it. Same for puff sleeves. Well, at least yours like kind of lends to your soft classic style twist. Mine usually don't. Like the scarf. Yeah. And the wrap dress, also no. Anyway. Kathy says you have a very vivid imagination. That imagination helps you envision what looks good on you. Well, thank you, but clearly not, because I was buying things that didn't. Now I think I do, but you know, I wasn't worried about what would look good on me. I was worried about what would make the magic. Like, I still think that a new lipstick is going to change my life. New foundation. Like, I have come home with a new lease on life in this bag because I bought a new foundation. Everything in my life is going to change now. It hasn't worked yet, but I still think it might. Kathy says that's a beautiful coat. It really is. I love that coat. It's not my everyday coat. It's because of the length. It's a dress coat, but I need a dress coat, a longer dress coat like that. And I love it. I wear it to church or out to dinner if I'm wearing a dress. Rachel says, those are the best kinds of deals. When you find the perfect item for such a great price, it's the best feeling. Oh, it is. And just, I mean, if you don't love it, then it's never a good deal, right? If you're not going to wear it, it's never a good deal. But when it is something you love and wear, it just enhances the goodness of the deal, right? It just, it's like the cherry on top. A Facebook user says, I would be interested in learning on how to use Poshmark. Well, I wrote a very detailed post on it, and I will post the link here, and it will also be in the blog post. So if you're not on my email list, I do upload these style snacks, the video and the written version and the pictures to my website. And then we send out an email letting you know when that's live. And that's when I link to everything. But we can upload the link to that blog post here. So I wrote one about how to use Poshmark, like how to buy, because I've done it a lot. And I know how to refine your search and all the different functions that you can use and how to find exactly what you're looking for and how to not be overwhelmed by it, because there's so much stuff on there. You could easily just be like, I can't, that's too much. So we will, we'll put the blog post link here. Rachel says that red jacket is amazing. Oh, I love it a lot. Mirka says, oh, I wish I could use Poshmark here in Sweden too. We have some similar sites, but not quite the same. Yeah, they've started a Canada version, I believe, but Canadians can't purchase on the US one because it's a fixed shipping cost. Like no matter what you buy, the shipping price is exactly the same, which is nice and not nice. Like if you're buying a $10 item and you have to pay $8 in shipping, you're like, it's a necklace. It weighs less than an ounce. But if you're buying something like a bag that needs to go in a big box, it saves you a fortune. So it evens out, like if you're shopping on there. And so for that, they can't cross the border because the shipping would be totally different. But yeah, maybe they'll open one in Sweden. We'll see. Laura says, in China, I saw women with jade bracelets that are tight and never come off. Well, how'd they get them on? like, how did they get it on that little girl in Brazil? And how are they going to get it off? Because she wasn't done growing. She was like 2 at the oldest. It was someone, it was a family I spent time around. So it wasn't, I didn't just see her in the street, right? But I never was like, tell me more about this bracelet. Maybe I should have. Denise says, you have to love what you bring into your space. I love Poshmark. Totally agree. You have to have an invitation into my space, all objects and people. Denise says, I love the fact that you share your insights with all of us. Well, thank you. And I love that I can tell you the ridiculousness that passes through my brain. You could laugh. I'm laughing. It's silly, but we could laugh about it. Robin says, playing with style via Poshmark is such great advice. I have been doing the same on my Find My Style journey for the last 2 years. I try to buy secondhand 80 to 90% of the time. Helps me figure out what I like and what works for me without breaking the bank. Yeah, it really does. And, there are other places that you can shop. You can thrift, because it is a version of thrifting. But if you're looking for investment pieces, you're not likely to find it at a thrift shop. It can happen. Some of you, I think that you live near thrift stores that are supplied by Nordstrom with the stuff you come home with. I've never been to a thrift store like that. But, some of you have that good luck. Rachel says, oh my goodness, matching leopards is so hard. I pretty much don't wear 2 pieces together. How amazing to have all matching perfectly. I like to match my shoes and my bag, or my belt and my bag, or my belt and my shoes. I don't usually match 3 pieces in one outfit, but the rest of the outfit was black, and I just wanted to that day. But I love to match my belt, bag, and shoes, and or coat. I just do. It's a thing. Not everybody likes that, but some people do. A Facebook user says, what did you say your Poshmark code is? It's dance me, like dance me 23, DANCEME 23, all one word. It's not a word, but you know what I mean. All one thing. And that's the name of my Poshmark store. Although I have my Poshmark store turned off right now. It's on vacation hold because right after we moved, a bunch of stuff started selling. Stuff I've had listed forever, sale after sale after sale. And something happened, a few boxes disappeared in the move. I think they may have accidentally been taken to the donation. And so I had to keep canceling orders, which made me feel terrible because I have a very, very excellent Poshmark reputation, or I did before I started having to cancel all these orders. And it was right after we moved. And I was like, oh, maybe I just can't find these boxes, but everything's unpacked. I can't find it. So I think and a box of trash came on the truck. So I think something happened here, and we moved so fast. It was so chaotic. I think some of it accidentally ended up in the donation pile, like those boxes. So I haven't had time to audit my closet and see what I still do and don't have. And so I keep putting it on vacation hold. But Dance Me 23 is also the name of my closet. And I have stuff I need to list, and I just haven't had time. Do you shop ThreadUp too? I looked on ThreadUp. I have never once found what I was after on ThreadUp. They don't have nearly as much inventory as Poshmark. I know some of you have had fantastic luck, and I keep hoping that I will, but I'm usually shopping for very specific items. I'm not just scrolling and browsing. So maybe that's why some of you find what you're looking for. I'm after specific things. So I would definitely buy there if I found the thing I wanted, but I've never found what I was looking for there. Kathy says, I have found my favorite jeans only on Poshmark. I can't find them anywhere else now. I'm tall and curvy, so it's tricky to get them to fit just right and be long enough. Oh, Kathy, that exactly. That thing that you love that's been discontinued, and you're like, how am I going to replace that? Poshmark. You find them on Poshmark, and then they're not discontinued anymore, are they? Or if I buy one in one color, and then I'm like, I need this in all colors. Stacy says, I love to thrift shop, but haven't used Poshmark yet. Oh, Stacy. I mean, it's not going to be this. It depends on where you're thrifting. Like, it's not going to be the 99-cent rack or things like that. But it, it is a version. Kathy says, I did buy a scarf to travel in a convertible down the 101, but we did rent the convertible. Well, you were a step ahead of me. At least we didn't even have plans to rent a convertible or a car. We used an Uber to go where we wanted to go. At least you got the convertible. That's awesome. Rachel says, I have kept items thinking, wow, I'll look so good and chic next time to go to Europe and I'll feel so good. So yes, I do the fantasy thing. Yeah. But do you buy them just for that? Keeping and buying? Yeah. Stacy says, I bought fancy hats to wear on outings, but I'm always self-conscious when it comes down to actually wearing it. My sister always seems to pull them off so well. Jealous. Well, I haven't ventured into hat territory, so don't tempt me. Amelie says, dressage top, I have stage fright. I don't know what a dressage top is. Please enlighten me. A Facebook user says, hello, just made it. Great finds on Poshmark. Well, I'm glad you made it. And I love Poshmark. So the links are added, the how to shop Poshmark like a pro. Kathy says, I do love ridiculousness. Well, that's good because I'm full of it. So you're in the right place. Please share your ridiculousness with me. Sandra says, I borrowed my wedding dress and the friend's mother had gotten it at S. Klein with the employee discount. It was $15. It came from a very expensive store. The headpiece to match was $40 and her shoes were only half a size too little. Wow. That's amazing. A $15 wedding dress. Wow. Wow. Tina says, hi, April. You're not the only one. I bought a velvet wrap adorned with marabou feathers, thinking I'd wear it to an award show working in TV, but then I quit my job a month later. Oh, you should have waited until after the award show. I've bought, I buy things thinking I could wear this to the Oscars. I've never gotten an invitation. Maybe it'll happen. But yeah, I would love to go to an awards show. I would love to buy a dress for that. Tina says, I needed to find you so I could start buying pieces to match my real life. Oh, Tina, I'm so glad you did find me. And I'm so glad you're starting to buy pieces that match your real life. It was a big problem for me. And it's still a temptation. I sent my friend links to 3 dresses saying, I do not need this dress. I have nowhere to wear this dress. And please do not allow me to buy this dress. They were not your everyday. I need a job as a CEO. This is what I need to buy. I love those clothes. I have no needs for them. And so sometimes I just have to share them with her and she's like, can we just admire and then move along? But oh, aren't they awesome? It's still hard for me. I'm still super tempted. And I try to talk myself into thinking, I'll totally wear that, like casually. But these are not things you're not going to casually wear a sheath dress, or I'm not. I just have to be honest with myself. Sandra says that couple were seared by the time I borrowed the dress and they were afraid I would think the dress was jinxed. I think maybe autocorrect took over your comment. I'm not sure what that is supposed to say. Wendy says, kids wear jade bracelets that easily slip on and they grow into them as they get bigger. If the bracelet becomes too tight, the bracelets get cut. My parents never did this, but my aunt has a jade bracelet that she grew into. I love jade. I have my jade monkey pendant since I was a little girl, and the green has gotten much more vibrant after all these years. So how do the little children not wear these bracelets that are big enough that they can grow into them and fall off? Like adults would get annoyed, and just take it off and How do they not lose them? I mean, I love the concept, but you know, how do they not lose them? I mean, my kids can't even keep up with their shoes outside. Like they go outside with shoes on and come back without them, and I'm like, where are your shoes? I don't know. They were on your feet, like they lace up. You had to untie them. It wasn't like flip flops, you know. Anyway. Facebook user says, I wish Poshmark worked cross-border. I got on the US site by mistake in the beginning. Such a big market. I know, it's that whole shipping to Canada thing. I wish the shipping companies would just get their acts together and the two countries could work together for shipping, because, right? It's an imaginary line, people. It's imaginary. But I don't see the problem, but I don't work in the industry, so I'm not involved. Sue says, okay, I own a convertible and wearing the scarf. It's one of those things, I don't look as good as I think I do. Well, but you know, like if you're protecting your hair, Jackie Onassis wore headscarves all the time. That's another reason that I'm like, I just look like Jackie if I do this. I even try it when I go to the beach. I just look stupid. She doesn't, but I do. But you know, you're protecting your hair, and if you just take it off when you get there, you look so chic at the stoplights. Edna says, try upscale consignment stores. I only shop there if not online. Yeah, upscale consignment stores can be great if you live near one and you're willing to go and look on a regular basis. I don't do that. I just don't think about it, but I do scroll on my phone. But it is a great option if you live near one and you are willing to go. But you know, on Poshmark, I can look whenever I want, and the inventory is so much bigger. But I will say, one of my favorite bags, my silver bag, that came from a luxury consignment shop. We were downtown to see Phantom of the Opera, and it was right next to the theater, and I was like, oh, we're early, let's walk in here just for fun. And it was a bag it's upstairs. I don't have it down here right now, but a bag that I had been admiring online for years. It was a limited edition, and so it wasn't like I could save up and get it. It's not one that you came across very often, and there it was, just like in real life. I just wanted to hold it, you know? And so I did. And then later, my husband was like, well, you never decided on an anniversary gift. Would you like that for your anniversary gift? And I was like, yeah. So I have done that, but it's not there. That was like 45 minutes away from me. So it's not one that I could frequent often. And I think they only did bags. Amelie says, dancing horses, dressage. I don't know the reference. And now I'm so curious. I love references. And now I feel like I'm missing. Oh, this is Vivian. Oh, hi, Vivian. Yeah, I can't always see the names. Rotary has award dinners, so I should join the Rotary Club. Is there such thing as being overdressed for a Rotary award dinner? Maybe I'll join the Rotary Club. Kathy says that couple was divorced. Oh, Sandra, I think she's trying to help Sandra's. Oh, okay. So that couple was divorced and they thought that you wearing the dress would jinx you. Well, we all make our own luck. So I don't believe in jinxing. And I'm glad you got to wear a beautiful dress for a steal. Wendy says the Jade bracelets do fall off at first. I've seen them with a red string attached to it. So now I'm thinking these are used to secure the bracelet onto the wrist or arm. Oh, that's a good idea. You'd have to replace the string fairly often, right? It gets wet in the bath and stuff, but that's a good idea. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not the only one who loves the signature bracelet look. What I do love about this one is that it does open and close easily. So I take it off every night and then I put it back on in the morning. But I do love it. It is what I wanted it to be. But let me tell you this. I bought a far less expensive version to try out the concept that I wore for a long time, and there were things I hated about it. Oh, I hated it. And I loved it at the same time. And so that helped me figure out exactly what I did and didn't want in a bracelet like this, so that when I did invest in the real one, I got the one that had the right features, you know? So, all right. Thank you so much for joining me. I always love doing these style snacks with you. And I will be back next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I hope you will join me then. Have a wonderful, fabulous rest of your week.